All right, everyone, welcome back to Into the Fear. I am your host, Chainsaw Sam E. And we are on the road to Midwest Haunters Convention 2025, episode 22. I'm here with Jarad and Terry of Halloween Haunts 365. And also I am here with Alex of Conjured Media. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the show. And everyone that is watching, welcome back. I know it's been a minute. All right. So, we're here. We're ready. MHC, we're not even a week away. We're counting down the days. I think it's like 4 days till we head out. It's crazy.
Yeah, there's a lot of work to be done.
A lot of work to be done.
It feels like it's 2 weeks away, but it's not. It's a couple days away.
No, yeah. Just a couple days. We're counting down the hours at this point. But yeah. All right, so we'll start off with Jarad and Terry. So with you guys, with Halloween Haunts 365, now what gets you guys started in the industry as a whole?
Right. So as a whole, we've been going in and out of haunted attractions since the early 80s. Just always loved it. Started doing as we started dating. And then we went through like 4 or 5 one year, and then the USA Today Top 10 came out, and I was like, this haunt's closed. This isn't called this anymore. What are they doing? So then I was like, we should start a website about these things. These things are awesome. And then I had no idea how to make a website, so I figured that out. And then about 4 years ago, we went full YouTube.
Yes.
And just been doing everything we can inside this, behind the scenes, interviews with actors, owners, builders, whatever crazy video we could think of.
Awesome. So how'd you come up with the name?
I really don't like the name, to be quite honest with you. But it was great.
It's iconic. It's iconic. I mean, look at that logo. Everybody knows that logo. The 2 H's with the 365 in the middle.
I know. I love the logo. The logo's never going away. We thought about revamping it for our 10th year, and I was like, no, we can't. Mm-hmm. But it was basically to get Google views for the website because it had the word Halloween, haunts, and, there's other groups out there, so we wanted to be different. We wanted to be the more adult channel and not use, like the word spooky 4,000 times and just...
Right. We didn't want to have to worry about what we were saying.
Yeah, we didn't want to worry about any of the stuff like that, so we just branded ourselves more adult, and here we are.
Well, awesome. So how many haunts have you guys actually visited? You got a number, anything like that?
As Halloween Haunts?
Yeah. In the last 10 years?
Over 100.
Yes.
Personally, through our lifetime, easily over 300.
Yeah.
You're making me look like an amateur.
Troy's starting in the comments, by the way.
Oh my God, he's already
a good number of haunts. Damn.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we've been through quite a few. And we try and grow every year. We try to hit different states every year. We try to hit new. This year, we're going to piss off a lot of the local ones, but that's how you grow. You got to stretch your wings and visit more places.
Exactly.
We're doing a lot of new ones.
Yeah, we are.
So what would be your top 3 favorite attractions you've ever visited? And this can include amusement parks and stuff too, if they had a better event going on.
It won't. But
It won't.
yeah.
Markov's
Haunted Forest, the 13th Gate.
Down there in Baton Rouge.
Yes. I know you recently visited, and I gotta say, what is that?
Scared my mom so bad that she fell. So that haunt is definitely one of the top best ones we've ever visited.
It's so beautiful, that haunt.
Yeah,
it is.
When my wife walks out of a haunt and goes, "Holy shit, I want to do that again!" It's like,
I know you did right.
Exactly. But and I would have to go Reaper's Revenge for the top 3, and it's tough to pick. It really is, because there's others I love too. Yeah. But those 3, I try to make sure. Well, obviously not the 13th Gate, but Markov's or Reapers, I try to hit every year.
Yeah. Well, they're a little bit local for you. They're a lot closer.
Right. I was tempted on jumping a plane last year just to get back to 13th Gate, but it didn't work out.
Oh, you two should have hit me up. The more
I know.
You The only problem was we did not know this till we got down there because it became obvious. Taylor Swift was in town. So we were
God.
invaded by the Swiftie zombies.
Oh
You know,
my
I went down
gosh.
there to eat beignets and Cajun food, and listen to some jazz. Instead, I'm listening to Taylor Swift and watching her fans walk by me. No hate on Taylor Swift personally. It's just her fandom is a whole other level of obnoxious. They're
No
worse than
doubt.
Philly fans.
Yeah,
I had to go there.
I know you
Hey,
did. That's okay.
Hey, Eagles fans, y'all are on a whole other ball game.
Yes, we are.
Taking the street lights down and stuff. Holy crap. Not just crawling on it. I seen this year they actually managed to take them out.
Oh yeah, they
Running
took
down the
themselves
street.
out too, which was crazy.
Yeah. They burn the city down when they win. They burn the city down when they lose.
That's right.
Poor city. Hadn't it gone through enough wars already, and now its own citizens are just saying, "Hey, let's throw the biggest frat party ever."
Yep.
Goodness gracious. We pray for peace in Philly this upcoming NFL season. We pray for peace.
Never happened. It's never happening.
All right, so let's go to Conjured Media. Alex, so what got you started in the industry as the whole?
Yeah, I kind of fell into haunted houses, so I have not been going to haunts since the 80s because that would be negative years for me.
Same for movies.
You know, I started Schmidt's Farm Haunts on Long Island. I ended up meeting the owner. I was doing local marketing stuff at the time, and he asked if I wanted to, you know, like a year after I met him, like, do you want to come talk marketing? And so I kind of went to that meeting, ended up kind of working with them, and then they didn't have a POS system, and they were doing like online ticketing for the first time. So I kind of ended up staying on site so I could count every ticket by hand, which then also led me to become kind of like the pseudo front of house manager there, because every time there's a complaint, rather than some like farmer dealing with it, I would just like come and deal with the problems or help with ticketing. So my foray into the industry was really kind of on that side of things. So I just kind of ended up at a haunt doing marketing, and then ended up working at the haunt, and then through, you know, talking to the owner, like just exploring around, I fell into the industry. I have never acted in a haunt. I have one acting credit, which this girl Rachel was in the swamp room and she had my lens cap. So I was under the fog and I just popped up in like plain clothes, and a guy like jumped across the room, and then everyone laughed at him because it was hilarious. So that I'm 1 for 1 in scares. So that's all I got. And I figured I should hang it up after that. You can't really top that. So so yeah, that's kind of how I got started in the industry.
So like with Conjured Media, so you guys obviously marketing is your big target. Do you guys offer like any other services besides the marketing?
Yeah, so we're like a full service marketing creative agency. So everything from, you know, running your Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google, to actually creating all of the media. So photography, video, graphic design. We do a little bit of website stuff. I'm trying to kind of get away from that, to be honest, but we still do it. And also just like kind of general consulting. So pretty much everything someone needs, we can do, or at very least find someone who can help you out.
Awesome. So what would be, out of all those, which department would be the one that you struggle with the most besides the website? You did say the website is kind of like your least favorite.
That I struggle with the most?
Yeah.
I think it's just staying sane in October, because like I feel like every single haunt, you know, every haunt has their own problems, and like I have those problems times all my clients. So it's like, you know, that to me, I think is kind of the biggest struggle, is just kind of managing everything in such a small condensed time. But otherwise, it's kind of like we've dialed the video stuff. That's like a shoot is always, you know, as everyone knows who does production, that's always a lot, and you know, you don't sleep a lot, but you power through it, and then, you know, we just work all summer, get it all done. So yeah, I don't know if there's anything like specifically that's like super difficult or like, you know, kind of a pain. Besides, again, staying sane in October, that part is tough.
Now, do you guys deal with the financial sides of marketing?
What do you mean?
So I know there's so many different sides to marketing, but like, do you like actually like with the ticketing side and like how? So the best question here would be a question that someone asked me.
Sure.
How do I take my $700,000 haunt to
Okay.
a multi-million-dollar haunt? How would I do that?
Okay.
On the marketing side.
Okay. That's what you mean by like the financial
Yeah.
side? Like
How do I make more money with my marketing besides just getting my name out there? How do I use marketing strategies to get more finances to, you know, obviously bring in more income every year for your attraction or business in general?
Gotcha. Okay. Wow. That is a really difficult question to answer in a succinct period. But the general gist is like the fundamental goal of marketing, as far as from a haunted houses perspective, is just that. It's to build your fan base, to sell more tickets, and to each year grow how many people are coming through your attraction, or conversely to that, how much money you are making per person coming into your attraction. So there's different ways to go about that calculus. So for example, since the pandemic, everything has been all over the place in the world. So there's no like baseline, which is really hard for people to like, you know, everyone comes like, oh, how much should I expect to make? And it's like, I don't know. The world has not been the same in the past, you know, X number of years. But we've done in the past, for example, people who have raised their ticket prices, or instead of doing, you know, individual attraction tickets, they'll combine everything into one ticket, and they might do less people, but they'll make way more money. So things like that. From an actual marketing strategy side, I would say the biggest things to focus on are creative, first and foremost. You need creative that will actually make an impact to people that see it coming across your ads, whether that's social media, or even if you're doing traditional, if you're a giant $700,000 haunt, for example. That's the biggest component. Next, from the advertising side, you want to make sure everything is connected for tracking. So all your digital stuff is connected to, let's say you use HauntPay, your website, Facebook, Instagram, all that's connected, so you can track everything. So you can do really cool things like understanding every dollar I spent in X, I made 5 times, 10 times back, right? But if you don't set all that up, you don't get that data. So I'd say that is like the very highest level kind of practical things you can do to start. As far as how to actually go about growing from a $700,000 haunt to a bazillion-dollar haunt, it's investing in marketing and understanding which channels are working and how to optimize those channels. And that's a multi-year process, but you have to invest in that process. So one of the things I find with haunts is a lot of haunt owners are very passionate about haunted houses, and they will build it. And next, it's like in August, they call me and they're like, we never thought about marketing, but what do you think? And it's like, okay, well, we're a little late for that, but what's your budget? And they're like, we spent it all on the haunt, right? So if you're trying to grow, you have to invest in your growth from a marketing perspective. So my philosophy for new haunts or even established haunts is the more you can spend on actually reaching people and making those people your guests, then the more you can retain and bring them back each year. And like investing in that process is how you grow. So I can get more specific on things, but that's like as high level without taking all your 2 hours. I think we can
No, but this is a question that I was asked actually at
Sure.
Transworld, because someone
Okay.
said, oh, you were the in-house marketer for your original home haunt. And I said, yeah. And then that's the
Sure.
question they asked me. And I was like, and again, I was like you, where I'm like, well, that's a question.
Yeah.
So then I asked him every question to book. I said, you know, what is your marketing budget doing every year? Are you doing billboards? Are you all over social media? Are you watching your social media, how you're interacting with your customer base, blah, blah,
Mhm.
blah. You know, what's your yearly budget, you know, per department? You know, like, what are you putting money into your haunt? Are you doing new things every year? Do you offer off season, this, and that?
Mhm.
And then I said, your biggest thing is always your location. Because
Mm-hmm.
for every haunt that's out there, every haunt owner knows this location sometimes, unfortunately, can hurt you with your
It
fan
is.
base.
Well, so the most interesting thing, so when I started at Schmitz, it was their 23rd year. They've been a farm since like their dad had the farm in the 50s, right?
Yeah.
They bought the property that the haunt is at in the 50s, like right next to the Long Island Expressway. So it's like an amazing location.
Mhm.
And I remember like the second meeting I ever had with them, I'm sitting down and one of the owners is like, Alex, this is we do so good because of our location. And I was like, okay. And like, he was 100% right. Like they just, you know, they rolled the dice and got lucky that dad bought the farm in that specific location right next to the highway. But that's the thing is, you have to also factor in location, demographics around you. Like if you want to be a multi-million-dollar haunt, but you're in a place with no people,
It's going to be a little bit harder.
you have to figure out how you're going to get people to fly in and all that stuff, or drive X number of hours. And there are very few people in this industry that can actually do that from an infrastructure standpoint or a reputational standpoint, right? Like think of all the big dogs. Those people don't just pop up there. When you
They've
talk
been
to those
there.
people, they understand every aspect of this business to a very high degree. And You know, like you mentioned, when someone asks you that question, right, and you're kind of taken aback because you're like, how am I going to answer this in like 2 seconds? It's like one of the things that I found, especially doing this, because I get to have a lot of conversations with different people and around the industry, is the questions people ask give you a really big insight into how they perceive haunted houses, business, like all these things, right? So if someone is to stop you on the trade show floor and be like, how do I grow my haunt? To me, it's usually an indication that it's like, if they haven't thought too in depth about it, then it's like, that might potentially be why they haven't grown their haunt, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And explaining that and stuff like that. And yeah.
Yeah. But when you, so for me, it's really refreshing when I get to have conversations with like people who really understand not just what I do, but like understand the industry. And like John O'Flamboy, for example, like we're booth neighbors at Transworld, and literally the first conversation I had with him, we like chatted for like half an hour while I was setting up my booth the first time at Transworld, and that man just like fundamentally understands everything about Mark. He was like the first person I ever talked to who like actually fully understood everything that we do, right? So, you know, you meet people like that, and it's like you can tell the difference between the rock stars and other people, but you don't have to know everything. That's why we're here to help, but you have to be open to the help in order to get help.
Yeah. And the marketing game is always changing. So what worked last year is not always going to work this year.
Yes.
And you got to be willing to take on the change, willing to grow. Not only that, your clientele is always changing.
Exactly.
Your teenagers are now adults. Now you have the younger generation come in as teenagers. A lot of them just different personalities. They want to see different things because the haunt industry is consistently changing. Oh, and it always will. That's how it stays. That's how it's able to survive. It has to adapt and change to the new world. Yeah. And that's a big word. You got to be ready to adapt and change things. You got to change your strategies every year.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, just the world itself, like the past 5 years has not been the same as any 5 years previously in any capacity, right? So the world is changing. The platforms we use, they're constantly changing and evolving. My least favorite thing is to onboard people on like Meta, for example, like Facebook and Instagram. Yeah. And when I tell people, I'm like, hey, this is going to be one of the worst experiences you ever had. We're going to power through it. Don't worry. It's like so confusing. And I cannot guarantee that, you know, since the last time I've done this, that everything is in the same place. And then then we do it. And they're like, I did not think you were serious. I was like, I cannot emphasize how serious I am. Like I tried to give you a warning. So yeah, and everything is constantly changing. Like Meta is literally just like a patchwork of random things that they've iterated over the years. So yes, one of the benefits of working with someone like us is that you don't have to have that really in-depth knowledge of the platforms and stuff and like how to navigate. Like we're there, we can guide you through that process. So it really saves you a lot of time and headache. Plus, obviously, we're working with a bunch of different people, so we kind of have that spread of knowledge and understanding of what works and what doesn't work, rather than just you and your market and your haunt. But yes, it is a constantly changing thing, and it is a lot, and that's why October I am insane. So there you
go. Yeah. So, Alex, I know you said you're still kind of new to this.
Sure.
But like, what have been your top 3 favorite haunts you have either visited as like a customer or you actually worked for?
Sure. So one of the things that does suck about what I do is I like to be glued to my computer during the season because if something happens, if someone's website goes down or something, I just like to be around.
Job.
Like one of my clients got hacked at midnight on a Saturday. And then that was 24 hours of me then dealing with Meta trying to get their ad account back and stuff like that. But like, had I not been at my computer, I would not have in real time noticed that happening, right? So unfortunately, I don't get to go to too many haunts. But last year through Lost Souls, Japes out of Chicago, shout out to Japes.
Yep, shout out to Japes.
I went to Hell's Gate for the first time, which was as advertised, amazing. 13th Gate, I did not see it in operation. I got the backstage tour in the off season, but even seeing it that way was still mind blowing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I would say I really liked Legends of Fear in Connecticut.
Yeah, Legends is awesome.
Was a big fan of them. Very nice people, Brad and Trish. So yeah, I'd say those are kind of like my top 3 at the moment. But again,
hey, that's a great top 3.
I'm not 300 in, so
neither am I. You're okay. That's why I would look at him like, well, I mean, that's sorry, Jarad, Terry, but as soon as you guys said the 80s, I'm like, oh, before my time. I know I'm a baby.
Listen, you didn't miss a ton. So haunt makeup used to just be white face and maybe some red.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah.
Hey, but back then they were hardcore back in those days.
Yeah.
The stories
they
and
were-
stuff that I heard from my older peers when I first got started, you know, the 90s is when haunted houses were starting to boom. That's
Yeah.
when all the big name owners now, that's when they started, was around the 90s, early 2000s, you know, because their haunts are 30 years plus now. They've
Yep.
been doing this. And you're just like, what was it like when you guys first started? And like you said, it was white face with blacked out eyes and a little bit of ketchup, you know.
Yep. Whatever red you found, it could be rust. It was just
Yeah.
pandemonium.
It could be the real thing. You
It
never
could
know.
be. Back then, there was no cameras. I mean, just saying.
Because like back in my early years, you know, we used to chase customers completely out of the haunt and chase them into the parking lot. I remember jumping into people's cars. If they left their doors unlocked, I jumped in the car with them. Nowadays, that's pure stupidity, but back then it was fun. Back then, that was the whole joke of like, you're not safe even in your car. We'll go home with you.
Wow.
Can't do that no more.
That's so true.
Yeah, the only one that really chases you to the parking lot anymore is Field of Screams.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's probably a few more, but they keep that on
Oh,
the
there
down
are.
low. They keep that on the down low. They're like, don't snitch us out and ruin our fun. We don't need to get banned again. We don't need to get in trouble again. We don't need the police called. The police are on our side right now. But yes, so the two of you, now I know Jarad and Terry were there. Alex, I don't remember. Did you actually make it to East Coast this year?
I didn't know.
Oh, you missed a really good time.
Yeah, I moved to Chicago last year, so now that I am
Oh, you're here now.
Midwest, now I'm here.
Okay.
Yeah. Which I think I did it right before the last East Coast because I was excited to go, and then I was like, I can't do that because I just literally moved.
Because you were on the East Coast side, if I remember correct.
Yep, from New York, Long Island.
Yes. Because I
Yep.
was like, I know he was from up in the Northeast area, but I couldn't remember exactly where. But I was like, I'm pretty sure Alex is on the East Coast side. But well, welcome to the Midwest, buddy.
Thank you for having me. It's been a
Trader.
lovely experience. So
The
far.
weather is terrible.
It is, yeah, it is not.
But guess
pleasant.
what? Whatever weather we get, Jarad and them get it like 3 days later.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where are you guys located?
Jersey.
Jersey.
Oh, okay. So yeah, we're simpatico in that regard.
Yep.
Pretty much the same. Long Island, Jersey, that little triangle.
The triangular craziness. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not that bad. It could be a whole lot worse.
Could be.
It's true.
Could be California. Oh,
I was about to bring that up. No, it could be worse. It could be Oregon.
Ooh.
I don't see Troy in the comments yet.
he's in there. He's all over. He's Scare Hollow. That's Troy.
Oh my goodness. I'm not getting any of the comments coming up on my side. Dang it.
If you go to comments in your right corner, trying to remember how to do it from your video. You know how you have the chart to the right, like graphics and all that stuff?
Mhm.
There should be a comment section there.
Oh, here we go.
And then when you click them, they'll show up on your screen.
Yeah, I see it all now.
I'm
Yep.
glad Kenny likes the Conjuring stuff. That's
I do love the name. I got to give Kenny credit.
I do.
Yeah.
I actually really like that logo.
Me too.
It gives me Salem Witch vibes. I really love it.
Are you talking about my logo, correct?
Yeah.
Yes, your
Okay.
logo.
Just I wasn't sure you were talking about the Conjuring. I was like, yeah, it's a cool logo. Yeah. Yeah. I
how'd
really
you
like.
come up with the name?
Yeah. The name I don't. So I know how we came up with the logo. The name I'm not 100% sure. I know when we started. So like we did two years with Schmitz. I went to Transworld, and then we were just kind of like we could totally just make this a company and do this around the country. And I think we just kind of needed a name. And when I name things, I just like I'm constantly ruminating on stuff, and I think we just somehow landed on Conjuring. As you know, it was obviously like it was marketing, but also like it has that element of horror to it. And obviously the domain was available and stuff like that. Well, not conjuredmedia.com. Someone in Texas has that. So if anyone knows that guy in Texas, let me know. But the logo, that was because we hired a guy when we first started to do our logo. and he sent back some wild stuff, and we were like, "What the hell is it?" Like we were like regretting paying this dude money because he had a really good portfolio, and we're like, "What is this?" And I ended up just kind of thinking I wanted something kind of pentagram Skrillex inspired, to kind of fit like the whole minimal vibe of what we like. Our style I think is very like sleek minimal, but with horror elements, which is kind of how we try to do all of the marketing and branding kind of thing. But I ended up just drawing that like on a piece of paper, the C and the M, and like I literally just gave it to the guy, and I was like, "Can you please just make this an Illustrator and call it a day? Like, we'll still pay you, but just do that." And that's how our logo came to be. And a lot of people seem to like it, so I'm glad that it resonates.
It's iconic, and like I said,
Thank you.
it looks demonic. It looks like something that
Yeah.
you would see in the Book of a Beast, but it's
Exactly.
not. It's something that's just made up. But I do like it because it's got the C and the M, but
Yep.
like it looks demonic from like way over here. It kind of almost looks like a pentagram.
Exactly.
Just on the download, but that's the point. Yeah,
That
because
was
of the horror aspect.
Yeah, that was the hope with it, and it is interesting because a lot of people do, like especially like at Transworld, we have that on our backdrop, so people will walk by and they'll either be like, "Oh, I've seen that before somewhere," or they'll be like, "Oh, I thought it was a pentagram," and I'm like, "You are getting the point." Like, I'm glad that
That's the whole
I'm
point.
I'm glad you're getting it.
All right. Speaking of Legends of Fear, happy birthday, Phil.
Happy birthday.
Phil, you old man. We give Phil so much shit. Oh my God, don't bring up the Annabelle. Apparently the Annabelle doll is on tour and that she went missing or something like that.
And burned down a building or some craziness.
Oh yeah, she burned down the
Yeah.
plantation, and then apparently 10 inmates escaped from a maximum penitentiary. And I'm like, well, yeah.
Can we just leave the doll in Connecticut? I mean, come on.
You know how many Raggedy Ann dolls you can find and just walk around and say it's the real Annabelle doll?
Right.
You don't actually have to take the real thing on tour.
Exactly. Fake it.
Mm-hmm. Just get a Raggedy Ann doll, throw her outside, get her all dirty and gross, and then just say she's possessed.
Oh, I like that doll.
Speaking of dolls, this
I love
one
it.
of our haunt dolls.
Oh yeah. Speaking of haunt dolls,
Yeah,
because that's been in the big talks lately. So tell us a little bit of haunt dolls. I wish I had
Sure.
the logo.
Yeah. If you want, you can go to hauntdolls.com if you want to do that. I didn't send you that stuff because I 100% forgot to even mention it, which is ironic because that's
It's
all
okay.
that we're doing.
It's actually behind you.
It is also behind me as well.
So we'll just use that.
But yeah, haunt dolls, kind of like I guess everything I'm talking about. Like again, I think we kind of fell into. So our clients, when we would basically create these entire themes, stories, packages for people, like we do it all around creative. So for example, that witch that was Dead Man's Farm out of Knoxville in Tennessee, and like usually the way it works is they come up with a kind of general idea of a character. They're like, hey, we want a female witch, so we created like the whole backstory. We worked with Maya Maggots out of Chicago to like curate the whole costume and look and everything like that. And then we made all the video, photographic, like everything around, like that's the witch on that backdrop there. So basically for holiday gifts, what I started doing was sending people crocheted dolls of the characters that we made because I thought those were really nice gifts for clients that they had something, memorable. And the first couple ones I sent out, I didn't have any for myself and I got really jealous. So I'd get like 2 made. So I had a bunch of them. And they kept being such a hit that I figured I should totally start something and actually sell the dolls. So we have basically the ability to get a custom doll for your own character. They're really good gifts for like, if you have like the end of the season for like, your best actor, or if you want to do the same thing and commemorate your own characters for the season as dolls, you can, put in your gift shop, you can put, in your merch booth or something, put them on display or just have them in your house. We also do really cool things. We call it our In the Flesh collection. So we have these little things. These are our chainsaws at Transworld.
I need that. I need that.
These are limited edition items that you can only get in the flesh in person when you interact with us.
I need that.
Unfortunately,
I will Venue money right now. Just hold one for me next weekend.
Well, so one of the things with these is that you can never get one ever again because it was only available at Transworld. So all the In the Flesh stuff are limited edition, but we are doing In the Flesh number 2. First was Transworld at MHC, and that is one of the things I wanted to do is rather than just slinging saws as I was have like a whole interactive experience. So it's not just getting a thing, you have like a memory and experience to go along with it. So that is why I look like a zombie at the moment, because we are hustling to get as much done as possible for that. But yeah, they're a ton of different items, Trish items, other items, and a whole experience planned. So it should hopefully be really sick and cool, and I'm really excited for it. And there's been a lot of buzz about it. But yeah, I can't talk too much about the details. It's called Grave Robber. That's what it's called.
Yep.
I'll probably release some stuff just before the show, but you got to come experience it. And again, it's all limited edition stuff. So if you want to get your hands on any of this stuff, you got to be at MHC. And once we're sold out and never available again.
Yep. So everyone, you got to make it up to MHC this weekend. No diddling around.
No diddling.
There'd be no diddling.
That should be like a general policy, but specifically this weekend, no diddling.
Yeah, no diddling, but someone's going to do it.
And I guess I should say, so one of the things that we're doing as well, so for this, because of the whole experience, basically you'll be able to kind of like pull the different items as you go through this experience. We also brought on sponsors to give bonus gifts we have 20 super limited. So everything's limited, but even more limited, 20 things. So we have a ton of different sponsors all across the haunted industry. So haunted houses, vendors, like CFX, Dust Productions, Midnight Terror. So if you pull one of those items, you will also get an additional bonus item from one of those vendors. And I'll release that before, like what the actual bonus stuff, but everything from like gift cards to, tickets to haunted houses to merch and stuff like that. So it's a really good list of stuff, and I think people are really gonna like what they can get their hands on. So again, don't miss it.
Yep, freaking awesome, Alex. Yes, everyone, don't forget MHC, Midwest Haunters Convention in Rosemount, Illinois. That is June 6th through the 8th. All right, so on to our sponsor. This episode is sponsored by Woods of Terror in Greensboro, North Carolina. Also, while you're at MHC this weekend, please check out the Let's Scare Cancer booth and the Woods of Terror FX booth. All right, now back to Jarad. So you won a gold medal this week?
Apparently. So this was through Chat GPT. I was just bored sitting here, and I just typed it in, and that popped up. I'm like, oh shit. The internet knows who I am. So then I did it a couple more times, and I kept getting like first, second, third place. So it was just cool that, like ChatGPT covers the entire internet. So I was like, all right. So I had to snap a picture before I lose that place. I'm taking my win when I can take my win.
I like it. So we also have the Haunted Attraction Network. I know them guys. And then the Haunt Weekly. I've also heard of them. What is it? Haunt Topic Radio. Was it like the top 5 or just the top 4?
It was a top 5. The other one was Scare UK. That UK. They do some America, but it's mainly UK.
Yeah, they're mostly up there in the UK. I've seen a little bit of their videos. I follow them on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah, and Haunt Topic Radio has been around for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
They've been around for a minute.
And Hauntcast kept popping in here, too. So shout out to them, because they've been in here since the early 2000s, which is nuts.
I know. They're like the pioneers of this.
Before podcasts were a thing, he was a haunt podcast.
Yes. I know. I think I'm still the baby, or at least I don't know who else has popped up since me, but I think I'm still the baby.
It takes time.
It does. But I come from a radio background. So, I mean, this is nothing new to what I used to do. I'm like, we did this with our radio show. We were doing podcasting before it became a thing. And it was just because we're like, what would be funny is so we dress up in goofy costumes and video record us in the studio doing our broadcasting. And then podcasting became a thing. And then we're like, we've been doing that long before you kids think that was fun. We did that. We did that for shits and gigs, but we actually got paid for it. Some of y'all just do it to do it.
You have such a radio voice. That makes a lot of sense.
It does. It's funny.
Yeah.
As soon as you said that, I was like, oh, that is what I'm hearing. I'm hearing an audio professional.
Now that makes sense.
Yes. Shout out to SoFlo radio station. Love you and miss you guys. So Japes came here and he says that Los Souls Haunted Bus Tour has a swag bag available.
Nice.
Yeah, Japes is with Lost Souls is one of our partners with Haunt Dolls. He's helped managing all of the talent and actors and people involved. So master logistics, that guy. So yeah, his booth will be right next to ours too. So stop. I think we're across from Woods of Terror, I think. So we're kind of 3039. So good location.
Alrighty. All right. So for everyone that is in the comments right now, do you guys have any questions or anything for our guests
Yeah,
that
Troy.
have not been answered yet? Well, we already know Troy's got a million one to questions. Tim, do you got anything? I know you usually ask a lot of questions.
I now want crepes. Thanks, Troy.
And then Remington said, I can tell you where came up with the name on their podcast. So what if I don't have any subscribers? I've had this name since 1986. Oh, Kelly's in the house.
Kelly.
All right, Jim's in here too. Jim's been around. Who's this Phil guy? Tyler West, Scurryface. Hey, Tyler, he's in the house here. We also got Robert. They let you out. I hope you're not sleeping on the stage again at this show, buddy. Make them get you a hotel room this year. Sleeping on the stage with no blanket, that can't be comfortable. Look who also crawled out of his cave. Chris Presley's in the house too. All right, so Jarad and Terry, what did you guys think of, East Coast Haunters this year with the haunt tours with Field of Screams, and also did you guys go on Thursday night as well?
No, we're gonna stay away from those haunt tours because we've been to them so many times. It's just it's just not worth it for us to go. But we know those shows very well, and it was an epic tour for you guys. Hershey, we haven't done. Not a big amusement park haunt guy, to be honest. Yeah, not at all. So this year, Hershey, I think, is on our schedule so far.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see if that continues because, who doesn't like a day at Hershey? And then, the nights at the haunts. But we'll see what happens.
Yeah, because that's
the tours were Field of Screams, no doubt, put on a show. And who else was there? It was Brighton Asylum. You can't go wrong with Brighton Asylum.
Yep. Brighton is on my bucket list, but I'm waiting until next year to do it on the Terror Tours. Yes, shout out to Terror Tours.
Troy, she's giving away intel.
I'm giving away all the dirty secrets.
No, that's gonna be a fun Terror Tours too.
Yeah. And then we went to Fright Factory last year for Terror Tours. So this year I skipped Thursday. But Friday, Field of Screams blew me away. Even though that was not the full show. We did not get the hayride and one of the houses was closed. But we got to walk through it. They had all the fire going. We got to see a couple of the scenes from the hayride. I mean, fantastic. And of course, the two houses were phenomenal.
Yeah, they're... Jim and Gene are out of their minds, and
they are.
They change 30% every year. It's been that way for 10 years. They were our first haunt that had us out to interview them and show us around, and we're actually working on a behind the scenes for Field for our 10th anniversary because we wanted to go back where we started.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it blew me away. It was definitely a bucket list haunt, but definitely I was blown away. The whole setup, the crew. So not even just at the behind the scenes, everybody's just willing to answer questions. Everybody's showing you all the little neats and tricks that they do. And then, of course, for me, all the chainsaw Easter eggs all through the haunt. So I was loving that.
Yeah. They like to use that laser a lot.
Yes, we know, Jim. Two goofballs from the West Coast started the Terror Tours. Well, now it's mostly on this side of the United States. It's more on the East side and the Midwest side now, and the South. We don't forget about the West.
I have a question for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
I always see people, like whether it's Hunters Hangout or whatever, like there's always this big debate on, having different review teams or media people coming into haunts, and like, it's a big divide in the industry. What is your experience like with different owners and stuff? Are people mostly receptive to you coming down, or is there kind of some resistance? Or
No,
No.
over the 10 years, we've found that, we started as a review team or a review whatever, but
Mhm.
like we've
A
grown
blog.
past that pretty much. We still do it because we love doing it. But really, it turns into more not like what we would do different, but like kind of consulting.
Sure.
We've found some dangerous stuff in some places, and that was fixed right away. Um, I don't wait for invites to go. We're just gonna go.
Okay.
We've built relationships throughout the entire industry, so we get asked to come a lot. So, but I know the divide, and there's a reason for that divide, and it's because there are groups that will just create shit to get free tickets,
Sure.
and they're out and about and you'll know them because you'll only see shit from them in September. Once you see September 13th come here, da, 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 like where were you all year?
Mhm.
Like it's June, right?
Yeah, June.
We've covered 13 haunts since the end of haunt season.
Right.
So like there's still haunts open. Where are you guys? So I get the divide. I understand haunt owners being wary, and I tell them to be wary too, is get a feel for who they are.
Mhm.
Because like other than the scare factor, there's other kind of weird stuff going on.
What do you think are those, like, what should a haunt owner look for to kind of gauge someone's legitimacy, as opposed, or like how do they snuff those people
How
out?
do they snuff out people that know what they're talking about?
Yeah,
I
guess other than talking to them about stuff.
right. So Jim from Field of Screams told me when we first met him, he's like, I'll look for a website. If there's no website, I'm not doing it. If the social media is not there, like you don't have to have a ton of followers, but what you posted before
Mm-hmm.
is, if those are scorings that you're looking for your haunt, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
If not, you can steer clear, or they're just going to come on their own and do that thing. But the ones that really push back are the ones that just think they're perfect and everything is awesome.
Sure.
And to find the real from the fake is just how deep are they going? Like, are they using the same words over and over and over again in a post?
Mm-hmm.
Like, are they writing the same thing about every haunt just
Copy
because
and
they
paste.
copy and paste, insert haunt name?
Sure.
Because you'll notice that a lot of the reviews will be the same.
Mm-hmm.
From, like, say, I don't know, haunt A to haunt B, it's the same review, they just changed the name.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Yeah, we found a lot of different stuff, and talking to Nora and Tyler from the Scare Factor has been huge for us because they're 20 plus in.
Sure.
And they deal with this stuff on a more like we're pretty out there now, I guess, but they're definitely more national than we are, without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So just collabing with them has opened our eyes to a lot more, and it's hard to tell, but kind of isn't, because the ones that have stuck around have a following.
Mm-hmm.
They will have, and that's another thing to look at too, is do they answer back? Do they talk? Do they respond to comments? Do they answer fans? Do they do all that? That's another way I'll look at it. And just vetting, really, it's so hard because everyone has a different opinion, but when I'm talking to them hand on hand, it's like, all right, so this was cool, I would change this, and your throughput could be this. And they're like, well, the word throughput, and that some other groups will come out with 40 people. I'm like, that's just stupid.
Mm-hmm.
You're hurting the haunt with your 30 people. There's no need for it. And just pay attention to, my biggest thing is we talk to everybody.
Yes, we do.
We're heavy in the comments. I won't ignore comments on YouTube, TikTok, whatever. And it just keep an eye out, because there is some weird stuff going on out there.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did that? I mean, that makes sense.
No, no,
It did.
it did.
I think that was a pretty good answer. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because
Yeah.
it's just there's so many different details that I think of when I like meet a new group. It's like I don't care about your subscribers. I care about your views
Sure.
because you're in this. Is
Mhm.
people don't have to hit the subscribe button anymore because the algorithm is so tailored to them. It's going to pop
Right.
up anyway. So I really don't go by subscribers anymore because you can even buy those.
Sure.
Yes.
And I go by views. So like when our interviews are getting 200 views, I'm happy because it's, March.
Sure.
It's getting out there.
And then our reviews will start hitting, 2 to 3 to 5,000 views. Like,
Right.
all right, people are watching. That's what I care about is just the watchers. So I'll see their views. I won't care about their followers or subscribers. I'll check their views because if their views are high, it means people are actually watching it and YouTube pushes it further.
Sure.
Same thing with TikTok. Like if you get a TikTok to run, it runs.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have none of that running, nobody's watching, which means that's a big red flag to me.
Mm. Yeah, that's super interesting. Like from my perspective, especially when I'm like consulting with clients or we're planning like media nights and stuff like that, it's the same deal. Like for me, it's more of the social proof side of things. So it's also less about follower count. But if it's like the Scare Factor, for example, obviously they have like a big presence, and if their team comes through and they like the haunt, getting a rating, like that's nice. You get the badge and all that stuff, good social proof. So even if the average person has no idea who they are, being able to display that badge, obviously if you deserve it, is nice. Also just the general SEO stuff and just getting out there and being distributed is nice.
Yeah.
And at least with the Scare Factor, like even my clients, it's interesting because no haunt owner wants to have the review team come, and whether a review is amazing or not, there's always going to be like some comment that they'll be like, what the hell is this? But what I like about the Scare Factor, and also shout out to them, great guys. I like that they had like a methodology and they have like a structure, so they're at least attempting to take as much subjectivity out of it, which I really appreciate.
With them and us is we've taken as much science as you can into such a one person thought process to like really. And the thing is, like, I love all size haunts. Sure. So I wanted to create like a scoring for everybody. Like, so it's just not like, hey, Feel the Screams won every year in the last 10 years. So I think they do a good job with it. Not to toot our horn. I think we do a good job with it by adding like, just different stuff. Like I don't care about animatronics.
They have a place, but they're never going to replace the live actor.
Right. They're beautiful. They're awesome. They're cool, but I don't need a review section for it. No, I don't.
They're the wow factor of a haunt. They're the extra. They're a bonus.
And we've all been through the animatronic warehouses where, we cut out all the actors because this is supposed to scare you. So we really just... And all the scores are subjective. So we do a scoring video, but I think our biggest thing is we'll sit there and talk about what we saw. Just straight up, no favoritism. Like, hey, this team, holy shit, was on point. Laurel's makeup that night, that dude looked like he was frozen. So like that's what we bring to it. The scoring is all subliminal, or not subliminal.
Subjective, yeah.
Thank you. Because there's no official score. Right. We do it more for fun and then just talk about what we see. And if there is anything we would do differently that we noticed, then we just say it and see where it goes. Like we were at one, I won't say the name, but she was really cool about it. But there was a downhill slope.
Safety,
you couldn't see. So you had no idea you were walking down a good 20-degree pitch. So like we both almost went down.
Sure.
And it happened a couple times on this trail. So we mentioned that in the video and they reached out and they wanted to know where it was. And I told them and we went back and it was fully lit. No one was following. You were good to go. So that's really what it turns into mostly for us. And then just building the relationship with the owners. And, we've done quite a few media nights and we're doing 1-for-1 coming up soon.
Nice.
So, I mean, Yeah, it's tough. I get your side of the story.
So Territor says that they're gonna send me a letter of executive. Looks like they're typos, I swear, and I know who's typing these typos.
Yeah,
Says
we
that they're
know
gonna send a
exactly.
lawyer. So they're gonna send a lawyer on me for spilling the details. Okay.
From our very expensive what's that, Chat GPT
Yeah.
lawyer?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Like, I'm looking forward to the 2026 tour, but 2027 is going to be the bagger, and I'm leaving.
Oh,
it right
yes. Oh, my God. Yes. We're not going to mention the
Nope.
haunts, but that's going to be
That's going to be
a big one.
5 baggers. Just, oh my God.
But even for 2028, too, I don't know if he mentioned it to you, too. It's like,
Yeah, I know his idea.
the next couple years are going to be something. I'm very excited for them.
You guys got to get your tickets to Terror Tours. I mean, it's just.
We'll leave the link down below.
Yeah, you guys cannot.
Did you see what he says?
The
What?
bus is almost filled up, guys. Now, granted, we might go to a second bus, but the bus right now is almost filled up, guys. So you got to get your tickets in now.
Oh, he's
No
going to make a
guarantee.
Jarad animatronic?
Yeah.
Yeah, he says he's going to make a Jarad animatronic. It's going to glitch really bad.
Yep. Yeah, that'd be
Sparking
terrible.
and stuff.
Terrible idea, Troy.
It'll
Yeah,
look nothing like you.
I don't know how he does it, but he's a master because you can't buy these tickets cheaper
No.
without a bus.
No.
So it's insane.
There's bus, all the free prizes from the sponsors and the supporters. I mean, it's insane. You get to leave with a lot of stuff.
And you get to hang out with all of us.
I know.
All these different haunters, all different types of haunters, everything from actual haunt owners to even just actors. It's a little bit of everything on these bus tours. And you never know what to expect.
Yeah.
That is true.
But what happens on the bus stays on the bus.
That's right.
That's right.
Or in the hotel pool, but we're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have to.
I didn't put an age blocker on this video, guys.
There you go, Troy. There's the link.
Love it. I know Tim's insanity. Yep, we can't wait. No, Troy, we can't mention that. I just said I didn't put these videos as an age block yet, so I'm not going to get banned from both platforms because.
Troy, are we doing a haunt tour? I mean, a Terror Tour Merman show? Because I'm in.
Oh my God, no.
We can do this. we can do some camera work. We got this. But I do want to say Alex is right on one thing with the haunt marketing, because there are many gems that have not been shown. I'm one that researches this shit constantly.
Yeah.
And there's so many hidden ones.
Mm-hmm.
So to the haunts out there, get your marketing up because you can see what it can do.
I'm telling you, there's quite a few here in Missouri that nobody even knows exist. And I've been to
Right.
them. And they have a budget. Walking through their haunt, like I can point out props and animatronics that I'm like, that cost a pretty penny and it's brand new. So you got money, but they do like little to no marketing. And I'm like, that's why no one know you guys exist. But obviously you guys got a good budget. The haunts are well detailed, great actors. And I'm like, I've never heard of you. I've heard of you from a coworker of a coworker.
Yep.
So those little hidden gems are all over the place. And a lot of them are they're not
Good.
like tiny. They're good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're good. They're not tiny either. Like they're massive pro haunt level, but yet you've never heard of them before. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing.
And like Troy mentioned, in the Pittsburgh market, we had a tough time finding videos for their haunts to use clips to make the Terror Tours promos. That right there, if we can't find it, the normal person isn't going to find it.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's one of the reasons that we started Conjured, which I think it's 7 or 8 years ago at this point, 2017. I don't know. Math is hard pre-MHC.
That'd be about 8 years ago or so.
Yeah, about 8 years or so. But basically, when we decided to start, we basically went through hundreds of haunts, whether it was their socials, websites, just to like get a sense of if there was any need for this kind of thing, and like the amount of like 90s websites we found, or like, you know, videos that were like Potato would be generous, you know. So like, and we were like, oh yeah, there is 100% a need for what we do, and like, you know, so far it's been pretty successful. But conversely, the other side of like what you're talking about, right, is these people who they have been around. They have an amazing haunt. Everything is dialed down, but it's like, but that one element, they just, no matter what you do, they just will not invest in that side of their business.
Yeah.
And I'm kind of, I think my journey into adulthood has really just kind of been like, at some point you gotta stop trying to rationalize things and just accept the world as it is, right? So I don't have any like reason as to why that's the case, because you'd think like, why would you not invest in these things? But I think it potentially could be like an education gap, or it's just they feel, hey, like we just want to invest budget into the things that we know and understand, and hopefully it'll all work out.
That's
But
true. Yeah.
I have not been able to come up in the 7 years of doing this with a good answer to why they don't do that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Some things you just can't help.
Yeah, it's totally cool. There's enough room for all of us.
Exactly.
I can't work with everyone because I'm already going crazy, right? So there you go.
No, but Alex, we've known each other for, I want to say about probably close to 3 years or so now. I know it was Transworld that we met, and I see Conjured Media everywhere now. Never heard of it till I first met you, and now I kind of see it all over the place. So you are getting out there, sir.
Thank you. Yeah, I felt like maybe it was like 2 years ago at Transworld where I really felt like I kind of always felt like a newbie in the industry until I think it was like 2 years ago when it was like I'm walking around and like I know everyone and people are coming by the booth like, oh, we've heard of you, and I was like, oh, it's nice to kind of go from like see the transition from that newbie to I'm kind of one of the gang now. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
And you're what haunts need and demand. Again, marketing, and someone that's very knowledgeable and knows the industry. You can have 30 plus years in the industry and still not know everything. That's just life. That's in any work of business. But, you're someone that comes up, you're very knowledgeable, and they're like, okay, I can't answer that, but I will get that answer for you. That's the energy that you bring. And that's the energy people need.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, I feel like I'm a pretty straight shooter. Like I always give it, if people don't want to hear something and it's what you need to hear, like I have no problem telling them that. Because I think at the end of the day, if you're trying to grow your business, you're trying to make good decisions, you just have to have the right info. So
you're going to hear things that you don't want to hear. That's just a part of life, and that's a part of business. You are going to hear, hey, what you're doing is not working to help your business. And I know it's not just in the haunt business, it's in any business I've ever worked in. They don't want to hear the negative. They don't want to hear that, well, what you're doing is not working, or it used to work, but it's not working. Like I said, you got to be willing to adapt and grow and change in order to keep up with the times, because it's consistently changing.
And I think there's also like it's also like a fit thing too. So like I'm the kind of person where I'm, again, if it's midnight and we're texting back and forth and we're having conversations about how the haunt's doing or anything, there's problems, like that's what I do, right? So it's a very like hands-on thing. I've talked to some people who are like, that is the opposite of what they want. They want to, here's the stuff, go do your thing, and I don't want to talk to you or interact with you, right? So like that's cool. That's just, there's people out there that can do that. So I think it's finding good fits for the kind of people that you want to work with as well. So, and that's like, especially in this business, like the haunt industry, there's other marketing people or other anything, right? You can find people that are more your speed, and that's totally cool.
Yeah. And again, it goes by the region. Some people are more experienced in one region than the other, because location is key.
Sure.
Like we talked about, location is key. So, because now that you're in Chicago, now you're learning the Chicago region.
Yes, it was. It's always interesting when you hear about Chicagoland's epic lore, but then when you experience it, you're like, this is a whole different ballgame. So yes,
it is.
It is interesting.
Up in that area, there's so many haunts clustered together.
Yes.
Because there's haunts spread out through the state of Illinois, just like here in Missouri. But haunted houses are really clustered more up into Chicago region. Now, they're not all directly in Chicago, but they're all within the county line and stuff like that. And then when you go up to like, Philadelphia, same way, Pittsburgh is the same way too. But then the entire state, they're kind of more scattered out.
It's split into two. Like you have the Pittsburgh side, the Philadelphia side,
and you got the Philadelphia side.
And there's maybe one or two good pinpoints in the between, but really it's just like boom, boom.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because like I have the personal knowledge from like the Long Island haunts, but Long Island was not just like geographically separate from everyone, but it had like really different culture and way about going about haunts than like Chicago, for example. Like it's like literally night and day. So obviously, like I've worked with people all over the country, and met haunters from all over the country. So like, but when I'm working with someone, it's like I don't necessarily have to be there to do my job, right? But it's like, so you're not absorbing the full cultural element as opposed to when you're in a location you can see it. So yeah, it's just interesting to kind of see the very different perspectives for that I've picked up from being in different places and working in different capacities with haunts.
Yep.
Now, do you have less customer bitching in Chicago than Long Island?
Customer, I mean, I think you can kind of tell I'm someone who bitches too. So we simpatico bitch a lot. So I think I just practice people. I feel like if we're not bitching over text to each other, what are we doing?
Yeah.
No, I think it's kind of the same kind of gist, and that's the thing.
I gotcha.
Because my clients are literally from everywhere anyway. Because it is like all remote for the most part.
I mean, like actual customers, like your clients' customers.
So
I'm gonna take this. Yes.
Starting at Schmidt's, so they had the haunt side and then they had the pumpkin picking.
Okay.
So the haunt side, everyone knows the general public is just
insane. Yeah.
Mhm.
I don't think that changes because what is more insane than insane? It's like at that point, it's how do you judge that?
I got you.
Like when I did customer service, it was just the most crazy. Like I just had these bizarre stories that I've mentally blocked, but they come up occasionally. Like I don't know, one guy was like, this guy tried to pull into the parking lot to let his wife out who had like cancer and like handicap sticker, and the parking attendant would not let him in the parking lot because he was waiting for parking spots to clear. So I asked the parking attendant, I was like, dude, this woman is handicapped, just let him pull in. He goes, I can't let him pull in. I was like, why? He's like, well, because he'll take a spot. I'm waiting for the spots to clear to let people in. I'm like, it's a parking spot for people to park. He doesn't even want to park. He just wants to drop her off. You're going to make a woman with cancer? Like, I was like, what world is
Oh
it?
my
And that wasn't
god.
even the general public. That was the guy who worked. And so that was mind blowing. Or people like, I don't know, people just do weird ass shit. I can't explain it. Sorry, I don't know if I can curse. But the pumpkin picking
Yeah, you're
side
fine.
is a whole different demographic of insanity. Like we filmed the pumpkin picking commercial, which was fun. We had this thing called a Dana Dolly, which if you're familiar with this, it's basically two like 8-foot aluminum rails on like stands, and two people have to carry it around. So we had this thing set up in front of their like corn booth, and this woman with a stroller, which is another thing I've noticed. I don't have kids, but I've noticed this in Chicago as well at the zoo. There's just subset of people in the world who I thought when you have children, your goal is to protect them. There's other people that you put your kid in a stroller and then you try to joust the child into objects. I don't know who came up with this, but yeah. So like we're literally standing with this metal pole as this woman is taking the head of her child in a stroller, and like I'm like I had to literally intervene because I was afraid she was gonna smack his face into the pole. I was like, "What are you doing?" And she just looked at me like, "This is normal to smack my child into things." So yeah, and then I noticed at the zoo here in Chicago that is
Oh my goodness.
I didn't have a Dana Dolly, but they did try to attack me with their children in strollers. So that's a thing apparently.
That's Cook County behavior right there.
You asked, I don't know. How can you get more general public than that? So
yeah,
I
that's
don't
true.
know, man. It's such a wild experience. So yeah, I don't know.
I've had parents literally pick their kids up and throw them at me at the haunted house. It'd be a group coming through, and some parents are so ignorant, but my parents used to do that too. That's why haunted houses traumatized me when I was a kid.
So this
and then
is
go
weird.
figure I work in it.
So people come to haunts with like 3-year-olds, and they'll walk up.
Well, sometimes younger
or younger, and they'll walk up to the ticket booth, and they'll just be like, "Can you watch my kid?" I'm like,
"No,
you don't know me or us. You're just gonna.
I could be a pervert for all you know."
Yeah, I was like, I don't know. My mom was like nuts growing up. Like, she would never leave me with some random stranger in a ticket booth. Like, who are these people? And then like some people will be like, "Oh, I have my baby. Can I go through the haunt with a?" And we're like, "No." And then we have like the occasional person. They'll come up and buy a ticket and like, with like a 3-year-old, and we'll be like, "You do realize there's no refunds. This is a terrible idea. You shouldn't do this."
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, he's fine." And then like you'll see the kid come out and he's like, just normal. And it's like, all right, well, that's probably a bad sign for that kid growing up, I guess. We'll see how he turns out.
And this is how a psychopath is made, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly. But yeah, no, just like yeah, weird things.
But he's right. Like the parents, our biggest question, and I do like a whole video every season. I don't know your kid, so don't ask me if he's old enough to go to this
Yeah.
haunt
Yeah.
because your kid isn't my kid. Your kid might be
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Right.
My kids hate haunts, so they're not going to go. Your kid could be like me at 4. I'm going. We're in. Let's do this. And then you have a horror fanatic for the rest of your life. So like that's
Pick your
that's
poison.
that's our biggest question every single year because we'll do, I don't know, 10 or 15, 20 videos about haunts opening and whatever, just dumb little 30-second spots. And that's the biggest question I'll get 300, 400, 500 times a season. Can Johnny go through? I don't know Johnny. I don't know what you ate. Like, did you grow him up on, Miss Rachel, or did you grow him up on Freddy? Because if you grow him up on Freddy, he can go through. Miss Rachel, he may die.
The new ticket add-on babysitting service, which is I did say to that because when I did work at Schmitz, they were like, it's a family business, so there was always some. I was like, they were totally safe people to babysit, but so I was thinking maybe open the babysitting service. That should be the add-on ticket,
Yeah, Portals of Fear on territory, so make sure you get your
Yeah.
tickets.
Hello, Porters of Fear. How you guys doing? Troy, yes, we're going to add a playpen on the bus. We'll fit it in there somehow.
Listen, there's going to be enough alcohol. It's fine because they're going to sleep the whole time.
Yeah. I guess that's a question for Troy. Has anyone tried to bring a baby on your bus?
That's true. I don't know.
Just showed up. Hey, I can bring my child on this.
I know there wasn't any for the Philly.
No.
No kids.
No kids.
Yeah.
not a
Not
good
yet,
idea.
he says.
We've had kids, but not babies. Okay.
He's talking about the big kids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Our birth certificate says we're in our 30s, but mentally by a psychiatrist, they said we're only 10.
I've never passed 12, so it's
Yeah.
fine.
That checks out.
Yeah.
Oh boy. So what's everyone's plans for this season? Like anybody got a bucket list? Jared, pull out that big list, sir. You look like
I deleted it. I had my schedule started.
he deleted
And I don't
it.
know what I did with it. So I'm really pissed off about that to start.
We'll blame it on Troy.
I did blame it on Troy.
Damn it.
2, we're obviously going to Pittsburgh.
Yep.
Did you want to talk about that other thing while we're here? Or do you want to wait till the end for that?
We could go ahead and do that now.
All right. So, wow, this is the first time we're announcing it.
Yes.
We'll be at Woods of Terror August 25th, or 23rd, starting our season, the earliest we've ever started it.
Yes.
And we're going later than ever because I think we're going to go to Field of Scream's Blackout event. And that's like November 13th. So we have our longest season ever coming up with stops in Pittsburgh, Dallas, North Carolina, possibly Maine, if I can pull that off.
Ooh.
So I travel for work, and the only state I've never been to is Maine. So that'll cross off my 50. And if you do geological from Maine to Jersey, Haunted Overload's on the way home. And I haven't been back there in a while. So
That's on my bucket list for this year.
So our bucket list haunts Woods of Terror, Dark Hour, Fright Farm are all getting covered this year. And we may sneak a couple in depending on what we can do. Like, we have made no promises this season because we knew we wanted to travel. So we're going to see what happens.
Yep.
But yeah, our plan is to hit 50.
Yes. 50.
Yeah.
And then I'll be in Chicago.
Yeah, you'll be in Chicago for some of that. So
yeah.
I'll have to send you solo.
Yeah, I've done it. I did it last year.
Yeah, you went to Hell's Gate on your own. Very proud of you.
I did.
Jared, how many's on your guys' team?
We have us. We have another guy local who can help out whenever he can. And then we do have an Ohio guy who gets to a couple here and there, really helps us out. So we have 4.
Awesome.
Yeah, so building a team's tough. I don't know how the scare factor does it. I ask Nora every day how she deals with it. But we become more video based, so that's kind of hard.
Yeah.
Because, we kind of want to keep it all consistent. And the teammates, they're getting better. They're getting better. But I don't want them to be like, all right, so Jarad and Terry did this review. It's going to be longer, more in depth. I want it more consistent. So, growing's tough because I kind of want to know, what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So we're going to stick to people we've been talking to for a long time and have done other work with. So, yeah, we have an Ohio guy, we have a local guy, and we have Bruce who helps us out all the time. So, small group, and we get to 90% of them just us. I have latchkey kids.
Awesome.
Yeah, I have latchkey kids from September to November. I forget what they look like. They do text me once in a while. But they're cool because they understand and they know what we're trying to do. And it's been a crazy ride. Her son just had a kid, so I'm technically a grandfather.
Ah,
I know.
congratulations.
So his wife was like, "Well, you got this." I'm like, "I don't see my kids in September, October. I'm not going to see your kid." So yeah, it's crazy. We'll try to get to. We don't like to go to more than one a night because we want to do the full experience. But, some houses are just one stop and you're done. So we'll hit 2 or 3 of those a night. But the big ones, like Reapers, I'll never do another haunt with. Field of Screams, I'll never go to another haunt that night. Mark-offs, you can't go to another haunt that night. Valley of Fear, you can't get to another one. There's just so many. And like I said, a lot of the local guys are going to get kind of pissed off this year because we're in Pittsburgh for that weekend. We're going to be in Dallas for that weekend. And there's even another weekend that we may just pull to maybe Haunted Overload and Legends of Fear. I want to stretch out. We really want to knock some stuff off this list. And, with Texas, North Carolina, we get to mark off our state count, which has been, I could do that right now.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 states we've covered.
Holy crap.
Yeah. So we got a lot to go, but it's a good start.
Mine's nowhere near that impressive, even though I think it's impressive, but it's not. But I travel strictly by myself, so it is a lot for a person doing it by themselves.
And
my mother does come with me from time to time, but she's retired and works part-time, and it's hard for her to travel and stuff. But she is starting to come with me because it's really her fault. She's the one who dragged me into haunted houses. She would tell me, "Stop your crying. We're going through." And she's dragging me into a haunted house, and I'm like, "No, those are real people. I don't want to go in." So it's her fault that I got into haunted houses in the first place. So now I drag her along. I'm like, "Yeah, how's it feel?"
Yeah, I grew up on the Jersey Shore, so we always had tourist haunts around. So my dad, to get me out of his hair, would give me $10. I'm going on the haunted house, baby. That's what we did. They never knew what I was doing.
I think my first haunt actually was the Jersey Shore.
Oh, do you remember which one?
I don't. So growing up, I was not a big haunted house horror person. Like Schmitz, ironically, my soccer team was supposed to go there when I was 7th or 8th grade. And I remember being so scared because I had no idea what to expect. And it somehow got canceled. And I was super happy because I was like, I don't get to get terrified. But on a camp trip, we went to the Jersey Shore and they had some haunted house ride thing. No idea what it was, but there were no actors in it. So we kept going through. And then we went through again and I was with this girl. And she as soon as the doors opened and we're on the ride, she just went catatonic and bent over. And I was I don't know, in 7th grade. I was like, what do you do in this situation? I was like, this girl's dying. And literally when the doors open at the end, this guy in a scream out costume popped out, and I didn't punch him in the face. I kind of karate chopped him in the face because I didn't know he was going to be there because we went through 4 times and he was not. And then right after that I kind of ran away and I saw him come out and talk to the operator. He takes his mask off. He's like, ah, and there. So I was that guy. But yeah, I think that was my first haunted house experience actually.
Yeah, Tim's Insanity put it, dark rides. there's
Yeah.
something else. That's how we started all this stuff. And you remember what town on the Jersey Shore?
It was like the boardwalk, I guess. Honestly don't even know.
It could be Wildwood.
Wildwood.
Maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
'cause-
When I went to day camp, so like at that age we would like you'd do these like trips and like some
Yeah.
would be sleepaway trips, and then they would take us to like a amusement park or the Jersey Shore and feed us fast food, and then that was it. So I don't know.
I got you.
Yeah, but I do remember that because I did assault someone. So luckily, did not go to jail. So, yeah. So I get it. When everyone's like, keep your hands to yourself, I'm like, I understand. You know, you get scared. You might karate chop someone in the eye. It happens. I get it. So
I got you.
Do you see Troy's comment?
Troy's comment. Can we discuss? Oh, because she got a bot in here. Hello, can I join with you?
Oh, I do got a bot.
Yeah.
Troy
They're
would
the-
have a Nigerian
Let-
prince, and it's
talk
hard to
to
send
my-
one.
Let me talk to my Nigerian prince if I have time for you. That we need to discuss our car's extended warranty.
We can only buy territory tickets with gift cards, I believe, right?
Oh man.
Got to be
Yeah.
Amazon gift cards too.
Why did you redeem?
I know. Speaking of this upcoming Terror Tours, excited, ready for it. The bus is almost full. Everyone that's watching, gotta get your tickets here soon because that bus is about to fill up.
Yeah, it is. I think we have like 14 seats left. We working our asses off trying to sell it, right, Troy? I'm doing a Friday the 13th event at the Blairstown Diner where they
I'll be
actually
selling tickets.
filmed Friday the 13th. We're doing a
Oh,
vending
yeah.
event there. And we have our territory stuff ready to keep selling that while promoting the podcast and just having Jason hound her. It's gonna be a good
I'm
time.
going to be selling tickets for Troy.
Yep, she's gonna be selling tickets for Troy.
I think Alex might have mute himself. Don't know why.
Oh, I just like
Okay.
in between mute.
Okay, you're good. I thought maybe something was going on. I was like, hold
Oh,
on,
no.
why are you muting yourself?
I'm like sipping water, or again, I am on a however many days before MHC mode, so I don't know if I'm making weird noises and stuff.
I mean, I feel yeah.
I better
I'm
mute to be
there too.
respectful.
After this, I still got to be back in the shop and work on a whole bunch of stuff, because they're counting down the days. And so I got to work my full-time job on top of this. So
Yeah,
I chose to have two careers. That's my fault.
Yeah.
I feel you.
Yeah, the part-time job I work harder on than the full-time job. I mean, it's insane.
While I'm working full-time, I am on my computer, on my phone, doing all kinds of stuff with this as well. So, I mean, it's never nonstop. This is still a 24-hour thing.
Yep.
Well, my other job is the 40 to 60-hour week, depending on what week it is.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's like the Shark Tank thing. It's like you start your own business and you end up working triple the amount of time than you would at someone else's business, which has been my experience for sure.
It's
Yeah,
the
I
benefit
can
of owning your
imagine.
own business
Yeah,
versus not working for the man.
exactly. You have the freedom to work always, as
Yes.
opposed to being told to work some of the time.
Yes, exactly.
Portals of Fear says to sell them all. I'm trying, man. We're trying. I was trying to have them sold out by East Coast. That didn't happen, though.
You got to add the baby wrestling included with the.
There we
the
go.
playpen.
The nursery by the bathroom.
Exactly.
I like it.
And Troy will be the babysitter.
Yep.
That might be illegal. I don't know.
That's a hell of a lot better than me doing it. So, Terry, you got that part. That's your job on Terror Tours. Watch
Yeah.
the kids.
Yes.
I'm gonna put them
job
all on
don't
my
feel-
shoulders and scare the shit out of them through the haunt.
The job that nobody wants.
That's right.
I know I don't want. I'm not good with kids. It's my all honesty. I love my nieces and nephews. Don't get me wrong, but I'm not good with especially the little kids when they're a little bit older and a little bit more independent. But I'm so awkward when someone's like, "Here, you want to hold my baby?" No, I'll drop it. Please don't. And once it starts screaming, I leave the room. I'm like, nope, I can't. I made it scream. I'm leaving. But your dog, your puppy, no, I won't. I'll take it home.
So I do have another question for Alex.
Mhm.
So we'll say you have Haunt A's social media.
Mhm.
How much do you have to hound them to post every day?
Oof.
Or is
So
that something you do for them, or is that something they handle?
so the way I do it is there's three different ways. Either they do it themselves, we do it, or we do kind of like a hybridized model. So if I'm doing it, basically I'll create like a whole content schedule. I'll take all the media that we've already made for them, or be like, you must provide X, Y, and Z. Obviously, if you don't provide the stuff, then we'll post what we have. But otherwise, that's like not on me because I can't post things that don't exist, right?
Right.
If they do it themselves, then if I'm doing like consulting, I'll be like, yeah, here's this. Like for people, here's a schedule, implement it, and they either will or they won't. And so yeah, that's kind of how I look
I
at it.
gotcha.
As far as like
So
ad side of things, that's like always all us pretty much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So what's the average schedule look like for a haunt? Or do you change it per haunt?
So like one of the benefits of being so niche in like specific haunt stuff is a lot of stuff can be the same in terms of structure. Obviously,
Yeah.
what you can put, you pick things out that fit. Um, During the season, I do try to do like at least one post a day. Um, when it comes to like the weekend, then multiple posts, whether it's like a standard post or like specific, like, hey, like we're open tonight kind of posts. But I basically break it down into like, I honestly have to revise this because it's gotten a little too insane. But like I have like 20 different categories of stuff, and it's like way too much to. No one else understands the system but me, and it was a total ad hoc thing. But so I basically have like all these different posts, categories, and types, and I like make a whole breakdown of it, and I'm like, yeah, like post this here, here, here. But that's a kind of general gist. So, and also the closer we get to Halloween, I try to post more as well.
Okay.
But the last podcast on we were talking about this as far as like, should you post all the time? When should you post and stuff like that? I've seen conflicting experts give conflicting info, and like no one really knows unless you work at any of these platforms and have
Right.
access to it, kind of thing. But I think of it as just kind of like, obviously try to post often, try to post relevant things that will create engagement. Like looking at social media in terms of like, it's all testing and figuring stuff out. So if you are the people who are making content daily, and you're going to understand who is interacting with what is getting traction, and then from there you can stick to that content. But like you have to actually do that with a methodology as opposed to just making stuff.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I hope the content schedule will at least help them if they're not, if we're not doing it for them.
Yeah, because
But yeah.
like Haunt A will post all year
Mhm.
with great content, and it keeps them in the algorithm. It
Mhm.
keeps them in the brains of their people. And then you have Haunt B, who won't post shit until August.
Right.
So you lost all your algorithm, and your followers aren't going to see what's coming out because
Mhm.
nothing's there. So I was wondering if there's a fine-tuned mix between
Sure.
the two, but you're right. Basically, throw a bunch of shit on the ceiling and see what sticks.
Sure. Well, when it comes to one of the interesting elements of this being so siloed as seasonal, right, is like at least what we do, most of the packages are, and most of our clients specifically are for the season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So like I do have some people I work with year round, but most people are not. It's very difficult budget wise, especially to like come up with like us doing it. So in that case, I will be like, hey, like here's just a breakdown of what you should do. Here's some content ideas. Like if you ever want to hit me up, feel free. Like, you can ask me questions. We can talk about anything. I don't charge for that, right? But most people don't want to do year-long packages in that sense. And then I find that people who are like relying on us to do it as opposed to like either collaborating or they do it themselves and we're consulting, those are more the people that are like, it's kind of dead until the season just because they don't have that internal infrastructure to do that.
Right. I got you.
Yeah.
I was curious.
Sure. Yeah. It's interesting stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this is Jape just asked a question. All right, so back to MHC topic. So Jape, yes, I won the best costume last year for my Beelzebub, which is the big demonic bee. It would be hard to top her this year. Obviously, the costume that I'm going to wear is not going to top Beelzebub, but I'm going to let somebody else compete this year because I already won best costume last year. So I'm not going to compete this year. I'm going to sit back and take a break. But I do have 6 current characters I'm working on in the shop, and one of them might be able to top Beelzebub, but those won't be revealed until in season.
Wow.
because that was fucking awesome. Not the
Thank
Kirk,
you.
but Jesus. When I saw that picture shop, like,
I was working with materials and techniques that I never had before, and really, it was a team behind it. The corset is actually from Stephanie from Still Bees, Dark Hour. She made the corset for me. And then the 3D printed, all the body armor was 3D printed. And then the mask came from Immortals. So, and then the wings, I made those along with the bodysuit as well. So, and then of course, painting everything, blending it all together. And at the last minute, I decided to add the extra set of arms. I originally was not going to have 4 arms, but we added those at the last minute, within the last hour before the judging ended. So they were already in the middle of judging when I was working on those in my hotel room. So it was a lot of last minute throwing it together, but it definitely made the payoff. And she's definitely one of my iconic characters.
Did they were they surprised? They're like, wow, you manifested arms out of nowhere. So it's like even a bonus. It's like, wow, how did your costume grow since we started this?
I did have one of the judges, granted, it was like tunnel vision wearing that mask. The mask is comfortable, except it's tight because it's a woman fitted mask, and tunnel vision. And I had no ear holes. I recently had to put ear holes in it because I'm like, the tunnel vision and having no hearing, anxiety was through the roof. Didn't like that. But I did overhear one of the judges muffle and say, hey, hold on, she's got 4 arms. Because my other arms were kind of blending in with it till I lifted them, and then they could see, oh, there's another set of arms under there. But yeah, the payoff was definitely great. Yeah, I did make it look easy. I mean, nothing is ever easy, but it was a fun costume to make. It was a whole year process of just designing, constant redesigning, and how I was going to make this work. But yeah, definitely one of my favorite characters. And then I turned around and won the Texas Hunters best costume as well with my Wendigo, which was another one that I used new techniques that I never had before to make a costume.
That's awesome.
This year, yes, I always have a new costume every year to bring to these shows, but the costume I'm bringing this year is not going to top Beelzebub. That's a hard one to top. She's the queen. No one can top the queen. But I will be Beelzebub again at Texas Haunters because I'll be guest acting at Dark Hour on the Friday night tour. And Alan, the legend himself, I said, which one of my 34 characters I have currently, which one do you want? He said, I want that bee. So I said, okay, I'll bring Beelzebub for that. And I'll wear it Saturday night at the costume ball. But again, I'm going to sit that one out too, because again, I won last year. I'm going to let somebody else win.
Excuse me. I have some unsettling news to discuss. 2 of your guests are frauds. They like Christmas more than Halloween. We've discovered 2 photos containing their storage units full of Christmas stuff. Host, please put up the pictures.
Oh, no. Someone want to explain that?
Fake? If we met, that's fake.
Your logo is right there, sir.
That probably isn't me.
That's hilarious.
Deny all you wish. We know the truth.
First of all, I'd have
That is
anxiety over that.
Yeah, you would. You would lose your shit over that.
That is a tangled mess.
Right. I would lose my... I'm getting anxiety just looking at it.
I never said Terry was the fraud. But we do know that Alex is a fraud. Look at this nice and tidy situation here in his storage unit.
That is fraudulent because I am not that organized.
That would be me.
Oh my
That
God,
would be
it's
you.
color coordinated too.
Right. That would definitely be me.
Where do I hire
Oh
this
my gosh.
Christmas organizer? Because that sounds
Ironically, this turned into a plug for his awesome organizational skills.
yeah, that is the fraud. But I'm happy to sell that fraud. That sounds great.
But we also have uncovered that your host, Sammy, speaking of costumes, has been making her costumes in China via a
You got
sweatshop
me.
costume.
You got me. You got
Look
me.
at this. Look at this. This is an
Those
abomination.
are rags. Those are costumes. Those look like they all went to the shredder.
It's basically AI.
Why does it look like moths have been eaten on that?
Because they probably did a lot.
These are the
It's like all the
rejects.
same colors too. It's like I see a lot of purple, a lot of white, and a lot of orange. Oh my goodness. Oh no, I definitely believe the Christmas one. Yeah, Jared, I heard you're a big Christmas guy.
Oh yeah, huge. Can't wait. Every year. Just burn this shit down. I'm so tired of it. Actually, I am looking forward to this Christmas because a segment of Stranger Things comes out. So first Christmas I'm excited for.
Nice.
Speaking of Christmas,
Ah, here we go.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, has
they
the
let anybody
Where's
in
the
here.
end button?
The agent has been
speaking of
exposed.
Christmas, Mr. Jarad, what would be your favorite Christmas haunt?
Oh, this year it was. God, you're gonna make me pick. Shit. You know what? Devil's Last
I
Laugh.
was just going to say that. It was
I
snowing.
really love that haunt.
Yeah, when the first room of Devil's Last Laugh was the only time I really enjoyed Christmas. It was beautiful, amazing. He knocked it out of the park.
Then what's your least favorite Christmas haunt?
I don't have one. They're all awesome.
I thought he was going to say they're all terrible. Christmas.
Dude, I get to go in a haunt in the all season. I'm never gonna
That's true.
tear that down.
Here's
But
a
really,
better
the question we
question.
all want to know is, what's your favorite Christmas movie? Because you love
My
Christmas.
favorite Christmas movie is it's a toss up between Christmas Vacation and A Christmas Story.
That's why we're friends. But also, I got a Halloween podcast to say Christmas like 14 times, so that's great.
How did I know it was you?
Alex,
How'd I
do you
know it
think
was
you're
me?
unscathed? Do you think you're unscathed? You are not in this. You are not unscathed, sir.
Oh, I feel scathed.
No, you're going to be. Why, sir, did we lose? Well, so let me rephrase that. Why, sir, did you lose the game for us at Transworld 2 years ago on Sunday night?
Well, I blame my partner, but we have different perspectives on that.
That guy's not here. I don't know what you're talking about.
But yes, that is one of the enjoyable parts of Transworld is the Sunday night when
Is losing a game with Alex. I don't think anybody said yes Sunday night. Yeah.
that is the only Sunday night is great because there's no pressure and we can just be zombies together and play weird games and listen to shenanigans that Tater says.
Right.
It's great. I have a fun time.
I remember Holly and Taylor got mad at us like every single time we answered a question. Because to them it was like, oh my god. Maybe it was more what I was saying probably, but yeah. Yeah, Alex was definitely the innocent bystander in that situation.
Poor guy.
Alex was like, "Why did I get picked to be with Troy as a partner?"
I do distinctly remember saying that verbatim. Yes, but
Yeah,
it's always a fun time.
Well, there was a chair next to you, Alex, so that's your fault. Mental note for anyone who doesn't want to play games with me: make sure there's not a chair next to you. Also, why is there not a Mr. Unicorn haunt doll? Japes wants to know. Japes really wants to know.
Oof. Well, that's because someone hasn't placed an
Messaged me
order
specifically
for
and
one.
said,
Oh.
So if someone wants to, drop some dinero, then you can have
Yeah, Japes.
anything you want.
"Yeah, Japes, come on."
So I know Japes. The thing Japes would love more than anything would be a Mr. Unicorn haunt doll. To
I
remind
also heard
Troy
that,
at all times.
that Ed, Ed from Distortions and Alan Hops both would like a Mr. Unicorn because they both really
Sure.
super enjoyed Mr. Unicorn at MHC that year. If you
Oh
are,
my
if you ever, I don't know, I know there's video somewhere. I know there's plenty of video on Facebook, but years ago at MHC when it was in Schaumburg, I completely destroyed MHC. I ruined it for everyone. Jen still doesn't talk to me because of it. She actually she does. What she does is she keeps me there so that she keeps eyes on me all the time now because now I can't sneak in with something like that. She's like, I know where Troy is all the time now. But yes,
He tracks his phone.
I made a lot of people very uncomfortable at MHC as Mr. Unicorn, but it's not my fault. It's Christopher Presley's fault. He's the one who created it.
Oh yeah, you got to blame it on somebody else,
When I-
Troy.
When I
He
met
did.
you,
He created the meme. He
when I
created
met
the
you
meme.
in person at Transworld, I remember at the costume ball, I had to sit you down and ask you, like, you have to, because having talked to you before, and like, it just didn't make sense how you, the person, and this character, like, I was like, you must explain how this dichotomy happened. And then I was like, you were like, oh, like I did like a joke. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Just a little tidbit about it, and I love saying this, even though it's extremely inappropriate, sort of, is that I was told by the amazing Melissa Winton that I had to wear a male thong behind the pants. So needless to say, my Amazon search history for about 2 weeks was extremely skewed. But yes, there were only
Can't be
a few
that
people
worse
who
than
knew about
normal.
that.
I mean,
Well,
Was that an
it
Easter egg, or was that like on display? I don't know. I was not present for your Mr.
Well, I mean,
Unicorn.
if you look down, then yeah, I mean, it was. I mean, they were awfully tight pants. they were shiny pink pants. Yeah. So I have never played that type of part before, so I didn't know that was a needed thing. And so shout out to Melissa Winton for saving all the world that. But yes, she may have also called me a role model at that point too. I don't know what that was about, but I think it's because I don't have any fear about anything like that, because I don't know anybody else in this industry who would literally walk into a giant convention hall like that and disrobe as Mr. Unicorn. There was a point in the hotel room where I was like, should I? And I'm looking around at the people that are helping me, and they are no help. They're like, yeah, you should. Because it's no skin off their back. But off the amazing Mr. Unicorn talk. Alex, I do actually have a real question for you.
Sure.
Is there something with video production? Because I do a fair amount of it myself, but I don't do it for other people for the most part. You do it for a lot of people. Is there something that people continually ask you to do with video that you're like, no, that's stupid, it doesn't work? But like everybody's seen that one trailer that everybody does where it's the white background with the shaking and the whatever. Do people ask you for something like that over and over? Like, is there a specific one that you're just like, stop it, please stop?
Not really, because I think because typically with the way we're doing all that stuff is through like narratives anyway, or if we are doing more of like the traditional haunt kind of video, it's still embedded in like that format of like we're featuring people's stuff. So there's nothing, no one has like requested anything super weird that doesn't work. Well, I have a memory of someone doing that, but I don't remember what it is. So like just like a weird thing, but usually it's kind of like the best example of that is more of when someone tries to pitch like a multi-million-dollar idea thinking it is a multi-thousand-dollar idea. That happens, that's like, we got to rein that in a little bit because, people don't have that background knowledge to know. Or the closest thing is when people ask us to do like, like the wall panels that have like the TVs in them. They ask if like we have content for that, which like we don't like do any of that kind of stuff, but yeah, it's kind of it. We could. It's just,
I mean, you went from media to crochet dolls, so there is a gap in there that you created some space to do some stuff.
We could do just about anything. But no, like the reason we haven't done that stuff is because we don't do like stock stuff typically.
Right.
So having going out of the way to make a whole production to then get that stuff, and like it's just like a whole different vehicle of things that like, because we're more like the bespoke stuff, just doesn't make sense to have all those assets on hand. And then when someone does come to us asking for that, they don't want to like pay for a whole production. They want to have a ready to go thing. So it just like doesn't usually align.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely a money thing. Because they don't want to pay for it, but they wanted it there.
Exactly.
Yeah. I guess my final question, and I'm stealing this from my ex show, Sammy or Troy? Sammy or Troy? Jarad?
Oh, you're gonna throw me under the bus.
Under the territory.
Under the territory bus. I really have to think it's
Well, oh! Did you see what we are? Sir, we're having technical difficulties. We're having extreme technical difficulties. I think I read lips, and it said obviously Sammy and Troy together on the bus. I think that's what I heard.
There we go. That works.
Terry picked me though. She already messaged me. So I'm just saying that. Alex, it's up to you. You're the tiebreaker.
Oof. Well, considering our game night fiasco, Troy, you've not been on my high list of people, but you know, it's hard to pick because you're both so awesome. You know, lovely humans. I'm gonna pick the playpen on the bus full of the kids.
Okay.
That Troy's watching.
Troy's watching. I mean, those are my favorite. Those are my favorite humans because those people are gonna need so much therapy.
I agree. Actually, on a completely serious note, between me and Alex, you know, me and Alex don't necessarily see eye to eye on everything. You know, we've had conversations in the past. We've had Facebook comments, you know, years ago. But because we love the same things and we love this industry and we love what each other does, that stuff never matters. That's just little, you know, fun side stuff. Me and Japes have had stuff like that. Me and Sammy knows. I mean, she knows I'm awesome, so there's no issue there. But
I'm always talking about.
She's always talking shit about me. But
mad shit. Absolutely.
With me and Alex, it's I would venture to say that this is the personification of how people should be. Is that we don't agree on everything, but we're still awesome. And he's awesome. I'm awesome. He's a fantastic creator. Everything I've seen him do is a knockout of the park.
Thanks, man.
And we don't care about the other stuff because we support each other and we support everybody else around us. And you know, so be more like Alex, everyone. So be more like Alex and love me.
Well,
love everyone.
I appreciate that, Troy. And yeah, I mean, I think you know, like anything, you come across people from all different walks of life, and you don't have to agree with everyone on everything. Especially this is character is the only correct term to use in this lovely business of ours. And you know, I just try to be a good person, and you know, be a good person to everyone around me, and hopefully, people receive that. And as long as you don't make me lose on game night and embarrass me in front of all the other people that I want to impress, then we're all good.
No promises on that one.
When you walk by his booth, you either need to have somebody on the other side of you to run interference, because he literally physically tackled me and said, "How can I get you into this chainsaw?" And I came home with a chainsaw that was more than the last person paid for it. Even I paid more money than the previous person. How the fuck did I do that? I don't know. I called my wife and I said, "What a chainsaw?" And she was, "What?" And I go, "And I paid more than the other person did." I was very upset, but I still have the chainsaw. And it is numbered, and it is not in Sammy's house, and that makes it so. See, I have exactly that one. But
I need one.
More of a chainsaw.
I need one.
But he will absolutely talk you. He will get you into a chainsaw this next weekend at MHC.
Slinging saws.
He doesn't have to talk me into it. You just say chainsaw, and I'm already there. He's gonna be like, "How the hell did she get in there so quick?"
But that is a good point, Troy. Because so all the limited edition stuff that we do, and kind of the way I wanted to structure everything, was the prices always start lower and then get higher as we sell. So that way.
Get there.
That way, the people who really want to follow us and really want to get their hands on this stuff, if they come early, they can get it for the lowest possible price, and then whoever is left pays more. So, so we're still doing that for MHC as well. So tiered pricing. So if you want to get your hands,
I saw the CFX ones, and I like those. I like that a lot.
We got
I saw your little
little masks.
I like that.
Oh, he's cute.
Yeah, so awesomely detailed. But yeah. I think I'll have I should have some dolls at the booth. To be honest, we needed so much room for all the other things that we didn't make display room for the dolls, which is ironic considering that is the business. But I'll have some dolls.
Now I have a completely other question about the convention booth stuff. So at Transworld, you had Conjured Media, and then you had the Haunt dolls. They were kind of in the same thing. Do you think that because when you came up to me, I know what you do for the media stuff, so you didn't need to talk to me about that. I've known that, you know, if somebody you didn't know walk up to you, what are you hitting them with? Like, are you gonna say haunt dolls first or conjured, or are you like, because you're selling
Sure.
both things, you're like what is your game plan for if just some random person walks up to you?
Sure. It was actually really interesting because Japes helped us out at Transworld, and
Right.
we were like debriefing, and he was telling me like watching you switch from doll mode to conjured, it's like very different person because I'm dealing with different people, right?
Right.
Like conjured is very like businessy, like I need to know all this stuff. Like dolls is like fun, buy a chainsaw, or, like so.
Right.
I guess I'm living like this Jekyll and Hyde life, like in real time on the floor. So at MHC, I'm only going to be bringing haunt dolls. I mean, I'll be there. So if anyone has conjured questions, you're more than welcome to come talk to me. Transworld is always interesting because people don't typically like come across us and go, "Oh, marketing, this is a thing I should look at." Like they either have already sought us out or like, want to talk about it in some capacity. Like no one's ever stumbled upon us. But also people will stop and watch our videos, but they wouldn't come like talk to me, which for me is fine because I don't need to stop people to be like, do you want to talk marketing if you have no need to talk about it, right? The dolls is our first time that we had an actual like product, so people were drawn into the booth to actually like, interact with it. So I was even more split because it was like trying to figure out what people wanted, and like they would kind of, at least we had two sides, so it was kind of like they would pick a side and then like I would travel side to side in this weird kind of like running around the booth thing. But yeah, MHC will hopefully at least be easier in the sense that it is all just haunt dolls. And I'm sure now that I say that, like everyone will want to come talk marketing. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
Right. Yep.
You jinxed it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Something.
I don't have any questions for Jarad because I talk to him all the time, but I have to design. He keeps dropping these cute little hints in our messenger. He's like, yeah, so like I saw the weather in Dallas today was kind of creepy, and I'm like, I know I need to figure out where you're going on your Dallas tour, and
what the hell?
he's like for like the last like 4 weeks, I've been telling him I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna figure out your your Dallas tour, and he's like, and I just keep getting busy, and I'm just not gonna do it. But I'm just gonna wait till he gets here, and I'm just gonna drive. I'm just gonna tell him go there. It's gonna be like all in a row.
Which is fine. I'm down with that, but you got to tell me these dates because I know you Texas people only open on the weekends.
Like they're not even going to be haunts; they're just going to be random houses next to cornfields and stuff. And
that's fine too. Let's go.
Yeah. I'm going to put a box out front that says admission, and he's going to put money in there. And then after he leaves, I'm going to go take the money out of the box.
I'm going to start knocking on strangers' doors with my gimbal. Like, can I record here?
Just ask the children in the corn; they'll tell you. Yes.
There you go.
Oh my god.
But yes,
why do I see you two actually doing it?
Oh, we will.
Yes, you are going to Dark Hour for sure. I will.
Yes.
I will most likely accompany you on that tour.
Troy's going to push you in a closet and lock you in it.
Well, because here's the thing: obviously, I'm going to let them know you're coming. Obviously beforehand. But that I will ensure that Rue is there that night, because nobody, like even Alan. I mean, Alan knows the haunt, but nobody knows the haunt like Rue. And when you go through and Rue knows you're there, it is a completely different experience.
Yes.
Than what the regular person gets. And it is a haunter experience. You think like they pride themselves on the fact that you get, each group will get hit by the parts of each room, because he spaces people out enough. He charges a little more money, so there's less people, so they can run them a little slower. And so everybody does get everything. Now, once you're in the middle of the haunt, the conga lines kind of can start, especially for Halloween. But the design is that everybody's getting hit. Well, that doesn't happen for every single person on there. But if Rue knows you're in there, he will make sure that every single scare that he can get to, as well as his actors can, that will happen. And it is honestly one of the reasons that if you are going to come to Texas this year, or you've been in the past, of why to take that backstage tour, because they will show you how you can have one actor doing like 7 scares in like 6 different rooms. And it's just, I mean, the way they have that designed is absolutely bonkers. And Rue can get through that haunt in minutes and hit a bunch of those holes and stuff. So, but yes, that is definitely going to happen for you. But
the coolest thing I ever saw with that was when I was in Louisiana, we toured Rise haunted
Oh.
attraction,
Rise
And-
was amazing.
and Davey is a mad scientist genius that has his whole catwalk thing on top
Yes.
Yes.
with a
Heard about
bathroom up there, I believe. That was one of the coolest things I've ever seen because that was like very practical, and to have
Yeah.
people being able to pop up anywhere because they can just walk the catwalks. That was super
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
that would be
Rise
sad.
was amazing. Cannot wait to go back. Oh,
I'm just saying. I'm not saying. I'm saying. I'm
we
just
know,
not saying.
but we can't say anything. I mean, if you drop the ball, it's your fault.
Yeah, for real. You made us sign NDAs. I mean, you would have mentioned
too
it.
You didn't follow any of them.
And I'm not gonna. You want tickets sold? I gotta push this shit.
This
I
guy
know.
over there, that guy over
Yeah,
there.
there you go. You're pointing correctly.
I will divulge some inside information. This guy can sell. There he is. He's over there. I keep pointing because I'm looking at myself in the camera and it's over here. Anyways, he's over there in the corner over there. Within the first 2 days of selling tickets, he had talked to enough people that we had. I think we were like 16 or 18 sold right out of the gate. Just because of his networking and the videos that he's done of it. Honestly, the one we talked about Devil's Last Laugh for a second about the Christmas haunt. His video is the reason that I picked that haunt, because I had looked at other reviews and I had, Google reviews are great. They're a little more true than
Pumpkin
like
patch
Facebook
dads,
reviews.
yeah.
Yeah, because Google reviews you really have to work at to get to. Like, you really got to find them. It's not easy to do a Google review. Facebook reviews, you go on their Facebook page, the actors from all the other haunts that are competing go in there and do their shit, whatever. But the Google reviews are a lot harder. But the really hardest thing to fake or to get involved, to ruin is the video ones from other people. And I had watched a few other ones and they were like, yeah, this is great, whatever. But it was his in-depth, like, talking about it. And like, as I was watching the video, I was getting excited about this haunt and I'd never heard of it before. And I knew that it was up near Waldorf. And I was like, okay, I need to find a haunt that's up near Waldorf. And I had heard about Hotel of Horror and what's the other one? The Halls of Horror, whatever. And both of those are more, those are touchy ones, right?
Halls is horror is just hotel is just an epic haunt. It's just
okay.
Your standard.
And of course, I couldn't fit them all in. And so I was like, okay, what haunt? Because I couldn't have the touch one on there because we have people that, I don't want to always, like, if I have a touch one, I might be really limiting who can go or who would want to go.
So what Troy's talking about is Freddy's shirt right here is from that haunt. Yeah,
I mean, look at it. It is covered. And obviously I would have told everybody. Now, when we went to Cutting Edge one year, I did not tell people about the foam exit tunnel. That got me in a lot of trouble afterwards. There are still people who yell at me about that later. People got lost in there and were like almost to the point of suffocating in there because it was so, and I've heard he's moved it now anyways, but he may have amped up the bubbles for us as well. But your video got me so excited to want to go see this. And, I think you did a couple of, like exterior videos and like some pictures, but obviously you didn't film inside. And so, but your ability to describe it and, saying how many times Terry screamed, which is the funniest part of your guys' videos, is, that like, as soon as I did that, I immediately went and talked to Devil's Last Laugh. And I was like, I have to have you on this tour. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. I will figure out a way. And he's like, well, we're out in like the middle of nowhere. And I go, yeah, you're right near Waldorf. And he's like, yeah, but we have a driveway, but we don't really have like a bus part. Like, it's in this guy's backyard. It's a giant, pole barn in this guy's backyard. And so, that's one of the things that I love to do with the tours is to take people to craziest ass places. And he's got a terrible freaking graveyard in the front of his thing. And it's hilarious as shit. And that is one of the things that got me was Jarad was like, yeah, you walk up and there's this stupid, terrible Dollar Tree graveyard. And then you go in this haunt and it's like, oh my God. And it is mind blowing. And I'm like, that's what I need. Cause I need everybody on that bus to go, what the fuck, Troy? Why are you taking us to this haunt?
But then we pull up and he's got this epic midway. Like it's not the spirit graveyard anymore.
I'm like, oh well. but it was still unassuming. It was, it was epic in that way. But, kind of like what you guys were talking about earlier with the levels of marketing from Alex and stuff like that, was that they're a haunt that doesn't do a lot of marketing, and they don't necessarily want a lot of that marketing, because if they get a crap ton of marketing and a crap ton of videos and stuff, that's going to bring people in, and they may not be able to handle that, given that they are in just a backyard, but they don't need to, because it's word of mouth with that one is absolutely the 100% way they're gonna succeed. But it was your style of videos, and I really like it, and I've actually used your videos since then to add on, and your expertise of that area, along with other people who are like in the Pittsburgh area. Like, you don't know a lot of the Pittsburgh haunts, so I talked to people that are in Pittsburgh, but the Philly ones, you and a couple others really helped me, say, well, what about this? What about this? I mean, obviously Philly, I have 75,000 haunts to pick from, so it was kind of tough to narrow down 5. But your videos are crafted in such a way that I was able to get the information I needed without a lot of fluff. And you didn't hold back if there was something that needed to change, or that was worse from last year, better than last year, so I, for one, thank you for your content. And I hope that other people kind of follow in your footsteps there a little bit, and don't copy like that Kenny Holden guy. Fuck that guy. Just keep doing what you're doing, and you're great. And you haven't sold any tickets this week, so
wow. Well, I appreciate that.
Well, Troy, you haven't paid him yet, so
I mean, I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm not saying anything, so
No,
Jared, I think you got to send that invoice now.
I know, I really do. We were busting your balls about that. I'm going to send you an official HH365 invoice. But yeah, like, that's what we try to do, is say what we see.
Mm-hmm.
I know we had one during the Terror Tours that I actually didn't add your logo to, because I didn't want you to take the grief from it, and kind of went off the rails with that one. But it was deserved. So, and shout out to Corey, because that place is amazing, and he's adding another attraction.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
With a third one possibly coming next year. So, hey, the word of mouth worked for him. That's awesome. But yeah, dude, I want to sell this bus off. I wanted to have it sold out before East Coast. We were close.
Well, we hit the goal before East Coast, so that's that's all that matters to me. That was great. East Coast was a fantastic show for us. Shout out to Transworld Company as a whole. Everything they do with these 3 shows, they all serve a purpose where they are. MHC was, has been great for so many years. All the different iterations of MHC that Transworld has put together. I know this show is about MHC and stuff, so it's kind of, but I mean, East Coast was amazing. MHC is a whole different show than all the other ones. It absolutely is.
It's the same with Transworld. Transworld itself is a whole different show.
Yeah.
Transworld, of course, is the grandfather. It's the godfather of all the shows. But
it's funny how they can make 3 different shows, but they have the same format, but it's who is there and what is done there that makes it. It's the vendors, what the vendors bring, how they present themselves, what different events are put on. And it's amazing that they didn't just, it would have been easy to go cookie cutter and say
copy
every single
paste
show is the same thing, and they didn't. And I love that. And they tailored it to each kind of region and what was new and what people want. I know they listen to vendors a crap ton,
Yes.
And they listen to attendees too, but.
Oh yeah, they're always asking attendees questions and stuff like that, and they are taking the advice from the attendees as well, because they are the ones that bring in the money too. They're the ones actually going around buying everything, while the vendors are there to sell. So I mean, it's good. They're listening to their audience, and that's what matters. Yeah. And they're one of the biggest shows around that really does it. That listens to their audience very well. Brings their audience what they want, both for vendors and attendees.
And thanks to Sammy for covering all of it for us.
Yes.
How many do you have, like, a number of interviews you have, like a number you'd like to hit for MHC, or do you have, like, are you just like, I'm just gonna go along and put the microphone in people's faces and do haunt doll style and say, I'm gonna get you into this microphone.
What you just said.
Yeah, okay, all right.
I'm not pre-planning all that out. I just go for it. I give myself a set time of when I want to go out. I'd be like, okay, let's go to the show, check everything out, and around, this time, that's when I'll go out. Because I don't do the live on the show floor anymore. There's so many people that do it. Transworld Live alone does that. So I don't need to do what they already do. Chris and Nicole and their team do it just fine.
Yeah.
So let them do the actual live while I go and I record. And now I actually just give the mic to, who's ever at the booth that wants to do it. Because sometimes it's the actual owner of the company. Sometimes it's just one of their employees who's really good at talking. Yeah. And I give them the mic and they show off the product, talk about it. And I'll answer, ask them a few questions and stuff like that. And really, that is what boomed me more, better than the live streaming did.
That's awesome.
So, plus I can get as many vendors as possible all into one video versus the live stream. I'm, counting down the time. So,
well, I've broken into the stream long enough. Christopher and Kevin said I have to go now. They said that this is your show, and so I have to go. I figured out the sequence of numbers and letters to get into this show. I tried a bunch. Let me tell you, there's some weird fucking shows on StreamYard right now.
Well, Troy, you run half of them.
I do. Yeah, I went into one, and it was just, you think Mr. Unicorn was bad. So I finally made it in here. I've been trying since the thing started, but it took me a while to figure out the algorithm there of the numbers and letters. So thanks, Terry, for sending me the link.
You're welcome.
So I'm gonna go ahead and head out, and you guys finish up this awesome show, and I'll see you guys all next week in the comment section.
Woo! Yes.
See you, Troy.
Bye, Troy.
Yeah, that's Troy. He loves to invade other people's shows, but it's okay. He's a good friend of ours. And of course, we talked about territories too much. That's our problem, Jarad. We talked way too much about it.
We conjured him.
Yeah.
Yes. It's like Beetlejuice. Say his name many times, he shows up.
You get him and his alias accounts all at the same time.
I know his many alias accounts. I have never met a person that has as many alias accounts as he does. That's wild.
I have quite a few, but I use it for different shit.
Yeah. Shh.
Yeah, shh.
I have so many Gmails, I can't make more Gmails, but I'm also not commenting on different live streams.
Remember, guys, I didn't put the child block on these videos.
He says, who's that guy? He was a mess.
The self-awareness.
Yeah.
All right. So, well, that's about that time, ladies and gentlemen. We're about to end the show. So, yes, for all of our viewers, MHC, Midwest Haunters Convention, is this weekend, June 6th through the 8th in Rosemount, Illinois, at the Donald Stevens Convention Center. Make sure that you stop by the Let's Scare Cancer booth at 3038. And right next door to them is going to be the Woods of Terror FX booth. That is a shout out to our sponsors of our show. And also, don't forget to stop by the Haunt Dolls. What is your booth number again, Alex?
We are 3039, right across from those people, I believe.
Oh, yeah. So, yep, you guys are all in that little inner circle. That's perfect.
Yep.
Guess what? Even when you look at the map, you're still going to get lost like I will. Okay.
Just follow the screams, follow the people who have crochet things, and you'll find us, hopefully.
Everyone, make sure that you check out Conjured Media, Haunt Dolls, and Halloween Haunts 365 on all different media platforms. We will see you guys. Stay scary. We'll see you at MHC this weekend.